Shepherds of Men is a secular movement started by three men of faith. We wholeheartedly believe that when we get the men right, we get the world right. We believe this because we believe that men are created and called to be leaders, and we believe there is an alarming deficit of leadership in our world today.
And although the three of us have come from drastically different backgrounds, our core principles have given us a unified voice that is needed now more than ever to pave the way for a fundamental change in our culture.
We are quite literally calling men to something great.
Welcome to the movement.
All right, what's up, world? It's Cam coming at you. We have literally been laughing our ass off here. I'm not even joking, man. You would, if you walked in here, other than the fact that it doesn't smell like anything, you would really question our state of mind. And we decided let's just go ahead and start recording. So, I mean, par for the course is no professionalism. We just want to welcome everybody to our shenanigans.
Laughing our asses off, man. I was laughing like I was trying to get rid of Wilson's ass. That was a lot of
that's a lot of laughing. Oh man, it's awesome to be here. We probably will have the giggles for a little bit longer, so just enjoy it. We will. We just, when we get together, man, we truly love each other, and we get a kick out of each other, and then it's like freaking little kids when we start joking about stuff, and then you watch some stupid TikTok and it just makes it worse. So
oh my god, that's great.
Or you let Chris talk.
Yeah,
it just adds to it. So
in my own little world.
Anyways, so we are Shepherds of Men. I'm Cam. I'm here with my little participation trophy, Wilson.
Hey!
Oh,
I got my trophy!
Oh, if you were any more worthless, we'd have to water you twice a day.
Wow. I knew that was coming.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
That TikTok video was hilarious.
We're just giving you a hard time. That was a TikTok video.
If I knew the guy's name, I'd promote it. But
just for the sake
anyways, we'll let him make us famous too. And JP.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And as always, we need to make sure we're giving love to our producer, O. In the Rank Studios, Rank Productions. Shit is blowing up for him because number one, Shepherds of Men is taking off like crazy, and we are really excited about that being a diving. Is a diving board, a platform, a springboard.
Springboard.
I knew it was somewhere in between there. A springboard. I was picturing it.
Yeah,
a springboard for Rank Productions. That's going to be really awesome. So, anyways, if you are into podcasting or looking to be in podcasting or any other kind of whatever audio, video, whatever stuff you do, media, then hit him up at Rank Productions on Instagram, I believe it is, Mr. O'Daniel. So that took $5 off our studio time right there.
Yeah.
He's not laughing anymore. It didn't work.
No, it didn't work.
No, we were pumped about it. And a couple other things, as everybody's been talking about, the Men Reforged is, I mean, literally, it's just here. It's just not live.
Yep.
Right before this, we were on a Zoom with a bunch of dudes and a couple ladies around the country. Appreciate everybody, by the way. I know y'all listen to this. Some loyal listeners and followers of Shepherds of Men. Had a chance to do a quick Zoom test with them on some things. So we're getting ready for the mastery sessions and the call to actions that we'll be doing throughout the Men Reforged program. So just stay tuned, stay abreast, as they say. Or stay two breast. It doesn't matter.
Stay in between.
You say one or motorboat. Whatever you want to do. Whatever your thing is.
You sailor, you.
Shepherdsofmen, shepherdsofmen.com. Check them out. They're amazing. They'll change your life. We appreciate being a part of it. So, today, what we're going to talk about, I was thoroughly impacted by my pastor, Pastor Frank, this weekend at our service. I mean, he always brings the heat, and I loved it because we actually had an old friend who's actually a follower. I don't even know if I told you guys this. And I won't mention names until I talk to him, but I've shared some of his comments recently on our stories, just some of his feedback, how the podcast has really been changing his life in a positive way, and he hit me up after, like, in some of those text strings and those conversations. We had been talking about one of the recent episodes and how much he was getting out of it and all this stuff. And it's always cool to hear, obviously, especially when it's somebody you've known and you kind of know their story. And, I mean, we've been tight. Like, we've had a great bond for a long time, but we haven't really spent time around each other in probably like 9 or 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Like I met his son this weekend, his youngest son. He's 9 years old. And the last time I saw a picture of, never saw him, picture was a baby. So at least 9 years.
Jeez.
Since we've seen each other. So pretty cool. And he just asked me a question. He said, hey, what church do you go to? Because he said, I go to a good church and nothing wrong with it. I'm not bashing it. He's like, but I just don't feel like I'm growing. I was like, dude, I get that. I mean, you probably over 50% of the people in America that go to church tell you the same thing. Probably way higher percentage than that, honestly, unfortunately. And his words were this, which was humbling and also convicting. Was, I know wherever you're going, you wouldn't go unless you were growing. And I thought about that. I actually mentioned that to Paul, and he said, how about that? He's
That's
like,
a compliment right there.
Think about what he just said. And I was like, wow, that, you know, and that's not a self-serving statement, but it really made me realize, like, everything we do really can influence somebody else if they know what kind of person we are. You know, like, I know you wouldn't be doing that unless it was good.
Right. It's okay to accept that compliment too, and I know you don't like to do self-serving statements and stuff like that, but that's a testament to you, Cameron. That's not somebody trying to fluff your ego, and that's not you trying to bring up things like that's you being very transparent with everybody that's listening to this about how impactful you can be to people around you if you do things that will grow you, if you do things that will stretch you, if you do things, because you start to create that reputation about you, and people that are around you benefit from that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a self-serving statement if it's a service kind of thing. Like you want people to grow because they see you grow.
You're exactly right. It's the example thing we talk about with our kids all the time, you know. I was listening to our last episode and was talking about Owen being an example to his little brother, and I mean, the shit's important, you know.
Very.
So anyways, long story short, he said, where do you go? I told him where we go, and I said, you're right. I mean, I get stretched every weekend, honestly. And so immediately I was like, dude, come check it out. He only lives half an hour away from there or whatever. I was like, come with us. And he came, like, the very next opportunity was this past weekend.
That's awesome.
Brought his wife, brought his youngest son, told me his other son was 22. I was like, that's bullshit. Last time I saw him, he was like 10. He's like, yeah, he's 22 now. He's like, we're getting old, son. I was like, the hell you say? I don't know what you're talking about. You might be getting old. I ain't getting nothing. Like a fine wine. But it was, so anyways, I say all that to say that, you know, if anybody's ever had a guest come to church, you're always hoping it's like, you know, just fire. Like light their ass up. Like it's good.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Dude, it totally was. It was one of those where I was like, wow. Like, I don't even know if he got anything out of it, but it was good for me. You know?
Damn, you knew he was coming.
Right.
Might have been too
It's
much.
one of those where some pastors will say, like, some of y'all are getting uncomfortable because you got a guest here. Like, but I don't get uncomfortable. I'm like, hell yeah, blow them out, you know?
Dude, it's one way or the other.
Yeah.
You're either going to leave and not come back.
Yep.
I would hate for you to
committed.
leave and be like, meh.
Yeah, it's all right.
I hate meh.
No,
like,
yeah.
don't mad me. Like, oh, I can't deal with that. Those guys are too strong for me. Or, dude, that was fire. That's me. That's
Exactly
me right
right.
there. I'm coming back.
Yep.
That's kind of where I'm
We don't need any lukewarm
No,
up in the Lowett's house.
No, not lukewarm.
So, anyways,
We're
it was a great message, and I was talking to you guys about it. A couple different things that I took away from it, and one was it was talking about demons, and that some people, I know that not everybody listens to us as Christians, and maybe they don't have, you know, a lot of biblical knowledge or whatever. That's totally fine, not a big deal. Just listen to the concept and the principle of it. Don't miss the message because of any preconceived or pre-indoctrinated nonsense. If you're in college right now, just kind of wipe away everything your professors told you. Legitimately. Or if you've been to college in the last 10 years. Since 08 or so.
What? The institutions
anyways,
of higher learning? Is that what you're saying? That they don't teach them how to think, they teach them what to think?
Yes.
something like that.
Sorry, anyways,
and then they
but that's
charge you for it.
Yeah, that's a side shoot, so carry on.
So anyways, just talking about demons, you know, I believe it was Nicodemus, where Nicodemus was trying to exorcise a demon from Mary Magdalene, I believe. And essentially the demon spoke back and said, I don't know who you are. So the whole concept was, if you're, as a Christian, again, if you don't believe like we believe, it's totally fine, but just so you understand the concept, as a Christian, when you're saved and you're filled with the Holy Spirit, and you have the power of the Holy Spirit in you, then, you know, especially even Jesus said, you can do what I do through the power of the Holy Spirit because I am in you.
Right.
So, but there's a level of faith that has to be there, right? And it's, most of us would say that that's kind of hard to be that faithful. I mean, that's not an easy thing to be like, I'm Jesus, right? Well, you're not, but yeah, the demon basically says, I know Jesus, and he's even talking about Paul, because Paul, obviously, major influential character in the Bible there, and by character I mean an actual real historical person. But he says, I know Jesus, and this way Frank says, I know Jesus, I know Paul, I ain't got any clue who you are. He's like, I don't know who you are. And so my thought process was like, make sure that you're faithful enough and you're doing something big enough that the demons know your name. Mm-hmm. You know, there's that old saying, it's been around for years, like, be the kind of guy that when your feet hit the bed or hit the floor in the morning, the devil says, "Oh shit, he's up." Right. You know, and dude, that stuff gets me.
You know what I think about? Who was that professional athlete that said that? That was like, when you're good, you'll tell people, but when you're great, people will tell you, kind of thing. Like it's one of those when you're actually doing shit, people take notice, which is crazy because and a lot of people, and if you're listening to this right now and you just feel like, hey, look, I'm not a Paul, I'm not a professional athlete and stuff like that. I mean, nowadays, dude, it doesn't take that much to separate yourself from everybody else. Like, stop looking at it as this big thing that you have to do to separate yourself from everybody else. I mean, honestly, if you just consistently dedicated to a cause or something in your life, you'll separate yourself from everybody else because people don't want to think anymore. They want the TV to think for them. They want the tablet to think for them. And what's really attractive is when you see people that are really good at what they do. And the reason they're really good at what they do is because they don't allow other things to think for them. They take action in it, and they're disciplined, and they're consistent with it. And that's how they become known. It's one of those things. It's just like, he's talking about Jesus and Paul. Those two guys, there was no question where they were headed.
Yeah.
None.
Well, there's that level of confidence. Like it's that whole light yourself on fire and people come from everywhere to watch you burn.
Yeah.
Because there's this whole different level, realm or plane that you're operating on.
Right.
So, you're exactly right.
I mean, just thinking for yourself in general, like what you were talking about, just that separates you from the mass majority, especially on a book that I was reading and just finished. It was like 98% of the people really don't think for themselves. They've been told and ingrained their entire life from the day that they were born till the day they get a career. And even then, in their career, depending on what that type of career it is, they're always told, hey, you do this, do this, do this, do this.
Yep.
And it's just like, if you could just figure out a way to think for yourself and take what's coming to you and then say, make your own decision, that you'll be much better off.
Well, and it creates a mentality and it creates habits that are just really detrimental, especially to men, to anybody.
Yeah.
But as we talk about raising men and growing men, it's just, you start getting into this lackadaisical, passive, just, the word passive just makes me taste like puke in my mouth. I mean, it's just, you know what I mean? Like it's
acid
just,
reflux.
it's like an acid reflux. It almost, it tastes like vagina. That's what it is.
I mean,
yeah.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it.
to the taste.
I just don't know if you want it to linger.
Yeah. Right.
So, and I don't want to. So, I think, and this is just my own personal opinion. One of the reasons that we're indoctrinated from that standpoint is the fact that we are so top heavy as a society that what we want to do is build processes to make not mindless people.
Yeah.
Right. Very much so in the corporate environment, right? Like you don't blame people for stuff. You blame the processes, right? You blame what's going on and stuff like that. But the sole purpose is to have a CEO or an individual that runs everything. And then in the next episode that'll come out a week from this one, we're going to talk about personal accountability and how that is so vital in your life as an individual, because ultimately, like, you have to make decisions. You can't just go with the herd, but that's not of the interest in the top heavy society that we've built. So, the federal government, things of that nature, that's why people lack confidence, because they feel like they have to rely on a bunch of idiots. Let me rephrase that. that was a little harsh. Highly educated idiots.
Yeah, not just a bunch.
Highly educated idiots in office to make decisions for them. So, of course, you don't have confidence, right? Because every time you turn around, you're like, well, the government's going to save me. Government's going to give me my health care. Everything that I'm entitled to.
But it starts, this whole epidemic starts at home, though, because, we were just talking before this about how this younger generation, even some in our generation, it's been a gradual thing. We've said this since day one. It's been a gradual decline of making life too easy.
Yep.
Making life too easy. And then you got, parents or grandparents that are basically just spoon feeding kids. They get to a point where they start getting into adulthood, and now their brain doesn't work. Like, they don't understand that you've got to do stuff. I mean, and I'm really dumbing that comment down as much as possible. Like, you just got to do stuff. Like you got to get up and do stuff. I wish I was kind of kidding, but like, there's sometimes I'm just like, I see some of the things that go on in society and even close to home, and I'm like, I just can't grasp it. But I understand that it came from a pacification of that, if that's even a word, of that individual. And then you see it on a greater scale. And I talked to law enforcement friends, and they see it on a scale. Like, they see it close up every day, and they will tell you, like, there's an issue because nobody ever taught people how to think for themselves, or how to understand that you don't have everything given to you. And then people realize they don't have everything given to them, and they get pissy about it, and that's when bad shit happens.
And then they don't get disciplined either. So like like the guy that we talked about in a couple episodes was back out on the streets after he got caught at my house and got in the same scenario, same car, same scenario of passed out in the car at a stoplight. But and it was green. People were going around him. And one of our family members found him. It was crazy circumstances. I don't understand it.
Your family is connected to this guy.
Yeah, I know, man. So I don't know how or what, but I'm going to try to tie this together.
I was about to say, it's your job to say that, man.
Well, here, what does this make sense? I mean, think this through. You got prisons that hold people who do something wrong until they're convicted guilty, and then they're sentenced to either further prison or other harsher crimes. Their life is ruined. But these guys are just basically letting these people go without being convicted completely, and so that they could save $56 a month or a day per inmate.
We got to pay for ventilators.
Yeah.
Well, we got to pay for college too.
We got to pay for everything. There comes to a time that it's like, dude, let's wake up, people. If you can't discipline somebody, if you can't say, I'm going to send you to jail, and then they get out in a couple of days, they ain't going to take that seriously.
Yeah, no, I mean,
they're not going to take anything in their life seriously.
They already had consequences, so that's where it compounds to, unfortunately.
Yes.
And you start to see it at a young age, then you start to see it as they get older, and then the consequences just get worse, and not even for just themselves, but for the people around them. There's consequences, and it hurts your society majorly. And to kind of tie this together with a little bit of the direction I wanted to go, was as we were talking about demons in church, and I was thinking about exorcising demons, and I'm listening, but then my mind, once I get like something that just really hits my heart and convicts me, like I start thinking deeper into this whole thing, which I think is great. That's why I'm there. But I was thinking about, when we exercise, as far as like physical activity, workout, all that kind of stuff. Some of us do more than others, Josh. I don't know if we do more. We do it differently.
We do it differently. We do it differently.
Yeah. At some point, I decided I don't need to have shoulders like that.
Nope.
Like if both of us are that big, then we don't have our individuality and our characteristics. Like we just look like a bunch of meatheads.
We need a Cameron and we need a Josh. That's what
exactly right.
And we need a Wilson in the middle.
Oh, hey, Wilson.
I'm here, guys.
Squats.
You just keep doing squats. You just keep squatting.
No, mine's all genetic, man. Seriously. Well, maybe. I don't know.
Mine too. Yeah. But anyways, so exercise. But then there's exorcise, which is exorcise the demons.
Right.
Strangely enough, they are not related at all. Like it's one of those things. I looked at it. He's done.
All I could think about was that you pulled up my driveway about 3:05 this morning talking about britches and hose or something like that. Well, here's some britches and here's my hoe. I need you to go out there and pimp that bean field for about 6 hours until I get tired.
Boy, you are a lot dumber than I tell people you are. Wow.
Anyways, so that was a comic relief. So back to
but exercise and exorcise actually are not related in any way, other than they sound the same. I really thought they were, because I'm sitting here thinking I have this brilliant thought. That's why they call it exercise, because you're getting because we talk about that. Sometimes you're stretching yourself, you're working out, you're sweating, you're like, I'm getting the demons out. You're not actually, but not even which I know some people are like, well, no shit, there's no demons in there. But no, not even toxins though. Like you're not even really like your kidneys and your liver and all that stuff actually take care of that. You sweating profusely from running or working out.
You actually do release toxins from your fat that's stored in your fat.
Yes, but
anyways,
you didn't let me finish.
Sorry.
And I know you got. I want you to input. I told you I was going to lean heavily on you, but I need you to wait your turn.
Know your role.
It's my turn to host.
Shut your mouth. Anyways, the point is, just working out alone is not necessarily releasing toxins that would necessarily cleanse you from like alcohol and drugs and things like that. So.
No, I'm not. I'm reading exorcise.
Yeah.
And it's to drive out or attempt to drive out a evil spirit from a person or place, rid a person of an evil spirit. It's kind of what it is. But I mean, there are some similarities between
similarities in the thought process. I mean, you could see where you could picture it together. Right?
I think weakness is an evil spirit. I think weakness is something
and that's what I wanted to.
And when you exercise, you you find another level.
So the only reason I put that little kind of disclaimer in there is because I know there's that one person that's going to be like, well, actually,
wait a minute.
So it's not. So fuck you, and like loosen up, right? And then go do a damn push up and tell me if you don't feel better afterwards. Like you didn't get something bad out of it.
Something.
Yeah, you do whichever one you want. Use an E or an O. It doesn't really matter, but just move your body, like that.
First thing they do is after they do about 10 push-ups, they go to the mirror and go,
Oh yeah.
I can see a difference.
Yeah.
I can see a difference.
Already.
Nope, I just changed shirts. But the mentality behind it is what really matters. And I know when I work out, and I was telling O before y'all got here about doing my first full Murph last week, and he asked me how was it, and I was like, it sucked. I mean, but you know, and I told him, I was like, there was a lot of, it wasn't even self-talk, it wasn't internal, it was out loud in the gym, getting through the end of it. And you can't convince me that I didn't get something bad out of me and replace it with something better, because I'd stretch myself.
Right.
Same as when you've done competitions, the same as when any of us, some of the other dumb stuff I've done this year, you know, it is removing, there's only so much, I don't want to say that, I don't really agree with that. There's not so much capacity. I think we can stretch our capacity, but there's certainly bad things, weeds have to be removed in order for flowers to grow.
You got to hit your head on that lid.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to hit your head on that lid enough times to go, oh, and take the lid off. And then you hit your head on another lid. It's plateauing, however you want to call it.
Yep.
That's the biggest thing about exercise and stuff like that is plateaus. We call them plateaus in the exercise world. There's that place where you get stuck. And at some point, you have to do something radical to get past that stuck stage that you're at. But carry on.
But you're right. Like not even just mentally, but physically too. Your body will just plateau. Because it's like you're not doing anything new. You know?
Well, 9 times out of 10, it is mental. 9 times out of 10, it is mental. Even in the exercise world. Now, don't get me wrong. You walk in there, and if your max bench is 185, and you put 400 on there, that's not mental. That's stupid. Well, no, it is mental. You're mentally retarded for doing that. Don't do that.
It's regression.
Yeah. But if you're trying to go to the next level and kind of level up and stuff like that, a lot of people get held back. So one of the biggest things about, especially when people start talking about strength training and start like where you would put the power lifter kind of thing, the reason that if you can bench press 315 and you're trying to increase your bench press, the reason that you put 365 on there, knowing that you can't do it, is there's a psychological effect when you take that bar off and you come down with it and you feel what that 365 feels like, knowing you can't do it, and then you have spotters that pick it back up from you and stuff, there's a connection, there's a mind-body connection that makes in there that goes, okay, I know what 365 feels like. So the next time you pull 335 off the rack, you're like, I know what 365 feels like. So you're mentally ready for that. Where you just talked about, you're stretching your capacity. You're starting to realize that like I can do more. I have the ability to do more, and I know what it looks like. And it goes to life in general.
Oh, for
like
sure.
You stretch it, and you're like, hey, I can only make $70,000 a year. That's all I'm worth. I'm not worth that much. And then you do something radical and you make $80,000 and you go, wow, that wasn't that much different. And then you make $100,000 and then you look back 5 years and you gauge where you were, and then you go, well, shit, like $100,000, like I don't have to be a god to make $100,000.
Right.
I just have to do some dedication, some effort, and stretch my capacity a little bit, just get a little bit better. Like, that's all I got to do. And some people get stuck in that, like, I can't make it that far, or whatever. But that may be derailed from what you're talking about.
Honestly, that's a lot of where I wanted to start steering towards, is how much the analogy or the metaphor, applies to life as a man, as a person, obviously, but as a man. And there's a couple of things we could spin off on that. When you were talking about the spotting, and you're like, I'm intentionally trying something harder than I know I can do by myself. But I have a brotherhood. I have iron sharpening my iron next to me that's there to say, look, we know you can't pick this up either.
Yep.
But we're going to stretch the capacity mentally.
100%.
So we're going to be right next to you, picking this up off of you, because physically you're not there yet, but mentally you're going to be at a new spot.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's almost in everything in life, not just working out. I mean, it could be in business, it could be in, going out for a new position, new career path, anything that you're doing for the first time in your life that you've never done before. Always having somebody there beside you that can help you accomplish it faster and better, and not waste time trying to figure it out on your own is always beneficial.
Well, I ran last Wednesday. Phil was like, I'm going to go do a night run if you want to come. I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, I'm probably gonna do 8 miles. A year ago, I'd have just laughed.
Right.
You know, and even now, I'm like, I don't really want to do that because I'm really not running that much anymore. I mean, as far as that distance, I'm usually just doing like 3 or 4 miles. And so I was like, all right,
this is enough.
Yeah, it really is if you do it consistently. But you know, it was one of those where honestly, it ended up being both of us needed to be out on a trail at night with another dude, stretching ourselves physically and having a conversation. Like, it became really apparent about mile 2 that both of us really needed an hour or however long it took us, more than that.
I was about to say,
yeah,
pretty good.
it's pretty good pace.
Pretty good.
However long it took us, to be just literally physically fatigued, but also having a very transparent brother to brother conversation. And as I'm doing it, I was honestly struggling because I just haven't been doing that much distance, and I run better in the morning. I can give you a lot of reasons, but I wasn't on it. You know, I was struggling, and I told him when we made the turn at 4 miles, I was like, bro, like if I was by myself right now, there's no way I'm doing 8 tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I would have totally been like, I'm turning it 2, you know?
Yeah.
So, it just goes back to that whole thing about having a brother with you. Like and he would have, I mean, physically he would have done 800, you know, but I think from a mental perspective, we helped each other. I maybe helped him a little bit mentally that night because he needed to bounce things off of me. You know, it's just, again, iron sharpening iron.
Well, we've talked about that, you know, in the past. Obviously, you know, your association is critical, but there's a difference between an association of individuals that you would consider maybe friends or associates, and then there's brothers. Mm-hmm. Brothers are forged in fire. Mm-hmm. Like that's you suffer with brothers. Yep. And Cody made a statement that I 100% agree with, and that's why I've really started to be very careful about the way that I use the word suffer, because he said suffering's a choice, right? Mm-hmm. So pain is necessary, change is necessary, things like that you're going to experience in your life. Suffering is a purposeful, you know, staying in something that is damaging to you or painful or whatever it may be. So, you know, there's only certain areas where suffering, I believe, is even beneficial for you, based off of his definition of what suffering is. But with that being said, I guess one of the biggest problems, and I'll tell you because I was there with a lot of people that are probably listening right now, is when you start talking about the association that you keep, the biggest problem that a lot of people have is they won't get rid of the bad association that they have around them, and having a bad association will keep the good association away.
Yep. Yeah, because they don't want to hang out with those guys.
Well, yeah, good. If you're hanging out with a bad association, just understand, I don't care if they're friends or lifelong friends and stuff like that, and it sucks. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not going to be easy. But if you're around them, the good association, you will not be around the good association. They're not going to tolerate.
It's straddling the fence.
Yeah.
You got to get on one side.
You're gonna have to move forward in life, and there's nothing wrong with reaching a hand back and going, "Hey, dude, come with me."
Yeah, come over the fence with me.
Yeah, come with me. Right. But if you're not going to, you just made a choice.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I was about to cut you off. I want to, but dude, there's so much in that, and I'm glad you're bringing that up because a lot of people get butthurt and they say, "Well, you're turning your back on your family, you're turning your back on your friends." The only reason my back is to them is because I'm moving forward and I'm leading a charge that they can come with me. There's always a welcome invitation to put a hand back or a hand up, to help them out. It's not like screw you, I'm out. It's dude, there's something more for me over here. And I'd love nothing more than for you to come with me and be better with me. But if you choose not to, I can't stay back just because you choose not to.
You know what cracks me up about that, though? Nobody ever looks at the other people and go, why'd you make the decision not to go?
Yeah.
Nobody ever does that.
Nobody.
It's always the one. It's always the one leading the charge. And
who's going to watch the fire?
But I think that's a valid point that goes into what you're talking about too. Is if you like they were talking about Nicodemus not being known, right? Like I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
In order to be known, in order for people to know who you are, you have to get in the fire. You have to bring your head above the weeds. Mm. But when you do that, you will have arrows shot at you. Yep. Because it's a lot easier to look and go, Wilson, you just left your family behind. Because you're the target, like, oh, well, he can take it, and we just need to attack him because he makes us uncomfortable about moving forward. Right. You left all these people behind. Mm-hmm. No, I didn't. They decided not to come with me.
Yeah, and I did something you're not willing to do yet, and that's why you're uncomfortable right now.
That's exactly right. But you can't be afraid to. You can't be afraid to do that, and that's the biggest thing. And a lot of times with I see with people, their family and friends are their biggest foe.
Yep.
They're the biggest foe in their drive in their life.
Some would say they're the biggest mofo.
Well, and that's the thing, though. And it seriously is. And what sucks is a lot of people get stuck in that whole like feel bad, guilty kind of thing. Like, I can't leave my family behind. I can't do this. I'm personally done with that shit. Right. I'm personally done with that. I dealt with some stuff for a long time that was like, I got to drag them with me and stuff like that. But ultimately, you can't drag them. They have to make a decision to move forward. And if you drag them with you, the ones that you really need to be around are going to go, hey, bro, like,
dead weight.
Stop dragging the anchor and come with us, or we'll see you at the finish line. I don't know what else. I don't know what else to tell you. You know, because I'm not going to hang out with some guys like you come over to my house and you bring some shitheads over to my house. I'm probably not inviting you next time.
Right.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Well,
we've had that happen.
And
too.
if you're not motivated enough by yourself, and I used to say this all the time, like if, as a man, if you got a wife and or kids, and you're not motivated to do better, I just can't relate to you. Like, I don't get it. Like, you got to stop being so damn selfish. I'm looking at the camera now. I'm getting serious. You got to quit being so damn selfish and saying, well, I'm uncomfortable because people are saying, oh, you're leaving your boys behind, you're leaving your family behind. Well, start being uncomfortable and look at your kids and tell them, I'm just going to be the same dude for the rest of your life. I'm going to go ahead and put this plateau on you. I'm going to put a glass ceiling on you right now because I don't want my boys to say something bad about me. Like, seriously, Josh is making a pukey face over here. It's the truth, though. But, like, man, if that doesn't make you cringe inside, dude, you might as well go ahead and do the transition surgery because I just don't understand that, man. I really don't. And then you can run for governor of California.
Well, you got a lot of people out there who are people pleasers. And I kind of fell into that. My mom's a very big time people pleaser. And it literally took my grandfather passing away for her to really break through that mold of just always saying yes. And she had so much put on her where she had to figure it out. The same thing with me. Whenever we started associating with you guys, I thought I was okay because I was one of the best people, I guess, out of my sphere of influence, other than three other people that are in that sphere of influence that were really good people. Everybody else, I mean, you could take it or leave it, unfortunately, just because they were like that. If I would have brought them over, they'd be doing drugs at your family's house, and they'd be like, what the fuck you doing? You know, I never did it, but at the same time, it was just kind of like, you know, why are you hanging out with people that are going to jeopardize your name, jeopardize your brand, jeopardize all these things that you're building? Because you're guilty by association. Whether you like it or not, you will be guilty by association. So the more you hang out with those folks, the more you're going to be in trouble regardless. And that's where that old saying is, and you guys could say it because my mom said it totally different. You hang around fleas, you're going to get fleas, is what my mom says.
You hang around fleas, you're going to get dogs.
But you hang around dogs, you're going to get dogs.
If you see any fleas, there might be a dog nearby.
Yeah. That was my mom saying, and it made sense.
You eat dog shit, you're going to get worms.
If you lay down with dogs, you're going to get fleas.
Well, that's how she said it. But anyway, so we're Polish, as you can tell. There were some backwards things. With dogs.
And we draw shirts.
We draw shirts. Yes. We also talking about a drawing.
Yes,
it's a pants party. It's a pants party. I get it.
I don't know where I was at on that one, man. But anyway.
Wait, did you mean to say it was a party in your pants?
What?
Is that what you said? What? No.
What was this? What was it? All right, let's break.
But the truth is, though, you need to figure that out, because if you could, I mean, you said the kids.
Yeah.
If you can say, okay, most people are playing two different lives. They're playing a life at their job, their home, and then they're with their boys. If you could do exactly what you do with your boys in front of your kids and be okay with it, that's your litmus test. Because those boys, whether they're good or bad, and all of us have things that we like to do, and we don't want to just introduce it to our child too early, that are not necessarily bad, but at the same time, you should be open, like an open book with your kids. That's your ultimate test, to say, hey, if these people are bringing the worst out of me, do I want my kid around that same time as I am being that person? The ultimate goal in life, you should be you in every scenario, not somebody different.
And we're hitting on a number of different parts of the ethos as far as association and even the action, the exercise part of it being, you know, healthy in that sense. But I always, as you're talking, I'm sitting here picturing, because I've been there and I didn't have kids, but when I was first making that decision of, am I going to just keep floating through life and let life happen to me, or am I going to start taking control of life and run the day? I had to legitimately say, are the people I'm hanging out with an asset or a liability? And they were 100% a liability at that moment. Now, some of those people are great people, and they're still good friends of mine, and I love them. But at that moment, what the equation was equaling to was not good.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm picturing like one of my sons or all my sons and some old boys, and if they were, it's just like, it's literally like pick A or B. And it's not even a choice.
Right.
It's not even a choice. And it shouldn't be. And if it is, if you are having to think about that, man, I'm praying for you legitimately. I'm not even trying to bust your balls. I mean, I probably should, but we're obviously always really opinionated on here. And sometimes we get hot and heavy and just tell you, what's bad. And we don't even talk about what's the practical way to fix it. And you may be sitting there going like, I don't want to pick my boys over my kid, but that's what I've been doing. Right.
I'll call you out of it. You need to grow up.
Yeah, I mean, you
do need to freaking grow up. Your kid is looking at you, and that's your responsibility. Even though you don't want to take ownership of that responsibility, you planted the seed, it grew, and now you have a kid, period. So now your whole life is supposed to fucking change. Not for the worst. It's going to change for the better if you put your focus and time into the kid and teaching him how to be a better person than what you became. The goal of being a father is they're supposed to be standing on your shoulders when they're done. And your life, what you've done up to that point, they're supposed to be able to, that's like a launching pad for them. If you're just bringing them to the quicksand, because that's what your boys are doing, they're dragging you down in life and getting you caught up in that quicksand where you can't go further. That's what you're doing. You got to really think about that shit.
And you just
grow
gave
up.
him the politician thumb. You gave him the Bob Dole, man. That's awesome.
And if truthfully, if that is you and you struggle with that, dude, let's get a new association. Reach out to us. We'd be happy to like get engaged with you in your life and give you tips and pointers and ways to change it. And then best of all, and you're probably leading into this, Men Reforged is going to change your life.
Yeah, but be ready. Don't reach out if you're just if you're wishy-washy about stuff. I would caution you, like with, and I agree with everything you're saying, but like ultimately it's about a me versus me kind of mentality when it comes to that, because you have to become better. The whole idea behind Men Reforged and the ethos that we created was to create an influential man. What Cameron's talking about is being known, but you're being known because you're an influential man. You are a man that other men want to follow, or kids. So you don't have to have a following of 100,000 people or whatever it may be. Maybe your following are your kids, your offspring. You're influential in your household. And maybe that's where you need to be at. Now, here, let me rephrase that. You don't have to go out here and start a business and be influential and make millions of dollars and do all that stuff. Maybe that's too big for you. Maybe some guys out there want that. That's fine. Everybody's different. You find where you want to be at in life and stuff like that. But you have a damn responsibility to be influential in your home. There is 100%. No question about that.
Yeah, that one doesn't. You don't get off on that one.
Nope.
You have a responsibility to be influential in your house. One of the biggest reasons that masculinity has got so freaking convoluted in society today is because that influential man does not exist like it used to, in my opinion.
No, 100%. Mine too. And in fact, and the reason that we started this episode with talking about or kind of getting into exercise is, in my opinion, the way I see it, is that one of the first places that you can start taking control of that is physically moving yourself and stretching your body, which is going to in turn stretch your mind.
Right.
What's up? He wanted a candid shot and we didn't give him one.
Yep.
So, you can literally sit across the table from Josh and watch him do some weird, freaky stuff.
He put it on the big.
But moving, we're always having a good time. We're always having a good time. Listen, man, like if you're not having fun, like, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah,
like,
but so that's a great point. You don't have to be miserable. We're being very serious about this, and you should be an influential man in your house, but you don't have to be a miserable man in your house.
Exactly.
You know what? You know what's great about becoming an influential man in your house? When you're growing and you're influential, guess how happy you are. Guess how fulfilled you are. Guess how the greatest gift you'll ever give your kids and your wife is your happiness. And you will be a miserable fuck if you don't learn how to grow. If
That's
you don't
100%.
learn how to get better every single day, you're going to be a miserable fuck for the rest of your life and try to figure out why. We're telling you right now how to get better. You have to get better in your life to become an influential man in your household. Once you become an influential man in your household, you will be a fulfilled man and you'll be happy and you can have fun and you can joke and you can be very confident in the decisions that you make in your household and you will earn your pillow every single freaking day.
Preach, brother.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Preach, brother. So I wrote this stuff down because what you're talking about is creating habits. And I believe, as I was preparing for this this episode, the exercise part of it, the moving part of it, the working out, the sweating, the suffering in a good way, the stretching yourself mentally, it's so necessary to develop a mentality. It's necessary to develop a thick skin, an attitude. I think your attitude, your positive attitude increases. I know for a fact for me, and there's science behind that too, which I didn't get into and I probably won't for this episode, but there's a lot of science behind when you're exercising, you're releasing endorphins and you're happier, you feel better, you have more confidence, you're more faithful in your own abilities because you know what you've been doing in the shadows, so to speak. But even as I was doing this, I was thinking about now that leads into other habits because I believe that there's a higher percentage of people, I could be wrong, but I believe there's a higher percentage of people that are probably more likely to start doing some push-ups tonight than to start reading tonight. Mm-hmm. I just think they are. It may just be because you can do a push-up right now and you don't have a book. It's as simple as that sounds. So I'm a big believer in let's start. Let's start now. Let's start while you're listening to this. If you're driving, pull over and do a damn jumping jack or something. And I mean it. I'm dead damn serious. He's like, well, that's crazy. Well, then you keep worrying about the dude in the other lane that's looking at you, and I'm going to worry about my kids.
Well, maybe you should be crazy.
Yes.
Maybe you should be a little
not
crazy.
Being crazy ain't working.
Right. Right.
If crazy is the opposite of all this bullshit that's going on in society right now, I will be crazy every damn day.
Let's have some more
every
crazy.
Damn day. Lots of crazy. So I even wrote some things down just as a kind of a rejuvenation for myself of habits because I am very disciplined, but I have my moments too. I'm human as well. I have times where I'm like, man, I haven't been on my reading like I need to be, haven't been on my prayer life like I need to be, which is important for me. Haven't been in the Word as much as I need to be, or haven't, like last week, a couple weeks ago, I only worked out 2 or 3 days, whatever it was, which has not been normal. I've been more consistent than that. Now, they were some pretty ridiculous workouts, so I kind of rationalized, well, I mean, I did a full Murph, so I get 3 days off. Exactly. I'm all breathed up. I drank water 4 days ago. That should be good, right? Yeah.
I'm a pissing brown.
I mean, it's just exactly right because I am a brown.
So, I didn't even intentionally do that. That just kind of happened.
So I made a little note here, and I'm just sharing this because as Josh was preaching over there, I'm like, dude, this is what I was feeling. So I wasn't even planning on sharing this, but it's just I wrote at the top, and babe, I'm sorry, but I did. I'm in my truck a lot, so you can tell by my handwriting. This was on the console, and I'm writing it as I'm driving.
It's got to be important if Cameron wrote it down. It's got to be important to put this down.
That's a true statement right there. That's a true statement. But basically, I put the note, renew daily. And that was the biggest thing I was getting out of the messaging from everything was renewing myself daily. Because if not, then you're plateauing. The opposite is renewing or plateauing. So I've got a weight goal there, which is something I just want to speak, which is dropping some pounds and just being more tone, less body fat, that kind of stuff. But being in my Bible, and I wrote just Bible, book, prayer, because I was driving. But I know what they mean. But it's things. Some of these I do fairly consistently, but it was a re-establishment of that sounds like the establishment. Anyways, it's re-establishment of habits. Affirmations. I will be transparent with you. That is something I have slipped on big time. Is vocally affirming my goals and my beliefs out loud on a daily basis. I just have not been doing it to the level that I believe it needs to be done.
Right.
A gratitude journal is something I've never done.
Yep.
Never. And I've had people tell me to do that for a long time now. Yep. And I've just always been like, well, yeah, it sounds like a good idea. And then I get told again and again and again. And it's like, you start realizing, like, maybe I should just throw that in there and see what happens,
That's where happiness comes from, dude.
Well, and honestly, there's some things that, like, I have a tendency to be, maybe shocking you guys, I have a tendency to be very A personality. And if things don't go my way, I'm like, the standard's not hit, then I get a little tense about it. And I have to remind myself daily, to look for the good. Look for the good. I'm literally like in my head, look for the good. Look for the good.
Pretty sure
look for
my
good.
wife is your sister, and
100%.
for some odd reason,
my twin sister.
Yeah, for some odd
My twin
reason,
sister.
like we didn't know, but
So a gratitude journal, and then writing goals down and positive reinforcement of those goals, and those kinds of things. And I wrote some notes for this Murph challenge that we're doing in the neighborhood. But my point of sharing that is just, man, it's the same for all of us, dude. Like we all got to do it.
Yeah.
I just believe that the for whatever reason the visualization in my mind of physically hurting on purpose, intentionally, through some kind of exercise, through some kind of physical exertion, whether it be running or CrossFit or squats or whatever it be, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. It really doesn't. Don't think that you need to go be Mr. Beefy and throw a lot of weight around. You don't. You just need to move. You need to stretch yourself past where you were yesterday, me versus me, like Josh talked about. You will feel like a freaking champion.
Yep.
You'll be sore, yes. And when you move and you're sore, you can be like, fuck, yes. I was sore because I did something I hadn't been doing. And then I'm going to read because I believe my body's going, ouch, 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 whatever. Like I'm thinking, good habit. I'm growing. It's, you're about growing pains. And then the same thing happens. It makes me want to do the other stuff. It's like a constant reminder of you got other habits you need to do. Even like take your vitamins today. If you want to feel good, you're not as young as you used to be. But I was at the eye doctor the other day, and I did have a mask on, only because I know. I wish I hadn't even admitted that on the episode.
Your eyeballs.
No, it's the only way they would see me.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Got to do what you got to do. Unfortunately, I feel like I should have just not gone. But anyways, it's like a little chink in my soul. But anyways, the lady's like putting my stuff in, and she went, "What?" Like out loud. I was like, "What is it?" She's like, "This says you're born in this year," and I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, I honestly never would have guessed that. I was like, well, you get a damn tip today.
Well, here's your sticker.
Yeah. But the truth is, like, I don't feel my age. I don't think I look my age. And I intend on being that way for a long time to come. But it's going to come through exercise. It's going to come through rejuvenating my mind. It's going to come through supplementation. It's going to come through having a passion for life and a dream and a vision that keeps me feeling young and all those kinds of things. And that's what we want men to do. That's the whole reason we're putting Men Reforged together. The whole ethos is all that shit.
Yeah. Well, and I want to jump in there real quick because I know you're probably going to wrap things up. But
is that your way of saying I should wrap things
up? No. I just want to get, because this is I think what you said was 100% on point. And as a man, find out what part of that he was talking about fits your mold, what you really want out of life. Because ultimately, just because Cameron wants X doesn't mean you want X. You might want B, but you need to figure out how to get to B and how to do it with some sort of excellence. One of the things that about exercise that I think is so great, especially in today's society, is we are so bombarded with information and distractions that exhaustion, and I'm talking about pure exhaustion. Like you were talking about, you don't have to lift heavy weight. Pure exhaustion removes distractions. I can't remember the last time that I was dying on a wall, like a 20-minute AMRAP or something like that I was thinking about financial issues, that I was thinking about, just dumb shit like work, like stuff at work and stuff like that. I that is the most clear that you will be, unless you have just learned how to perfect meditation. I think some people that like Buddhists and stuff like that perfect meditation, like they're really good about removing distractions and really clearing their mind. But as far as a man in today's society that lives in the world that we live in, and you're not on a mountain in a temple, that is the closest that you will ever get to mental purity, is at pure exhaustion.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because there were a couple little things that when I was looking up, and I'll read this real quick because it lines up with what you're saying so people don't think we're just making this up. It's from some website that ends with .gov, so it must be legit. It literally, it's a bunch of initials .gov. Exercise improves mental health by reducing anxiety, depression, and negative mood, and by improving self-esteem and cognitive function. Exercise has also been found to alleviate symptoms such as low self-esteem and social withdrawal. And it literally, you think about what causes all that stuff is a lot of distraction and stress and strain and all that kind of stuff. Physical activities can help reduce feelings of depression and stress. This is from the same website. Enhance your mood and overall emotional well-being, increase your energy level, and improve sleep.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, I know when I got a lot of shit on my mind, I ain't sleeping. And when you ain't sleeping, you're not recovering. When you're not recovering, you're starting from less than a solid foundation.
About 70% the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And you can imagine how that snowballs.
It does.
Josh has his fourth baby.
Lord. I'm telling you, man, if you want to just do a test, if you want to do a test to really find out if what we're talking about is bullshit or if it's true, then just set your alarm, give yourself about 4 hours of sleep for the next 5 days. Set your alarm every 2 hours, wake up for an hour, you can't go back to sleep, and then go back to sleep for a couple hours, and then wake up for another hour or so, and then you can go back to sleep for a couple hours and get a total of maybe 5 hours of sleep that night. After the next 4 or 5 days, look at your output and how well you're able to make decisions and whatever it is that you're doing in your just everyday task. It's amazing. You'll start tripping over shit that ain't there. Like I'm telling you right now, it's important. And Cameron's got a great point. You know, like recovery is important, but exhaustion is important too. That's how you go to the next level. You break it down, you build it up. You break it down, you build it up. Break it down, build it up. That's how you walk the stairs to where you want to be at in life. That's where you become happy, fulfilled, and an influential man where your family loves the father and husband that lives in the household with them.
And you're also an example, you know, and you're also also your kids are going, I want to be around that dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to be like that dude. I'm going to create some of the same habits he has. Like we talk about this all the time on here. Some of our proudest moments is when our kids are in there. Like Cash was wanting to do pull-ups the other day because he was watching me do that Murph, and he was all over it, you know, and he wouldn't let go. Like he did, and I had to assist him a little bit, but he's pretty damn strong. But after like 2 or 3, I thought I was trying to pull him off the pull-up bar, and he was still hanging on. I don't know if he was scared he's going to fall or he just wanted to do more, but you know, and that's one of the coolest things, and that's inspiring, and it helps you hit another level. So, you got anything else you want to?
No, it's good stuff. I enjoyed the fact that you were being vulnerable because we all struggle. I mean, I think sometimes our listeners probably think that we're just we think that we're all you know, our shit doesn't stink, you know, or something of that sort. So I really appreciate that. I know I struggle all the time.
Of one earlier and sent it to you guys.
I'm proud of this one.
Hold on, this might be a world record. Did you guys see? You probably didn't. This is like a random picture, but she's like a girl like sent a picture to like her friends and was like, "This is the house I live in, and the toilet seat is down, and it's got a sticky note on it. It was like, please God, do not flush. This could be a world record."
That should be our house. It's all dudes.
Wow.
Yeah. I could see Cash doing that in the future. Mom, wait! I'm trying to find my phone.
Well, it's always good. You guys make all of us sound good. So, and I appreciate y'all listening. And I'm good.
Well, we put you in the middle because you make us all look good. So.
I guess.
You got that salt and pepper hair.
I see you're still there.
I know. I got it spiked for you.
I can't help but notice that you're still checking us out.
The test of our listeners actually making good decisions is going to be whether or not they know what we're talking about.
Exactly right. If you know what we're talking about,
you clicked the wrong button.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, listen. It's an honor to be able to do this every week. It's an honor to be able to have you guys listen in with us. As always, we are very opinionated, but we believe our opinions are pretty damn factual. And we believe that we've been put here for a reason and a purpose. And we have a message that is going to help this country and this world get better as we develop and grow men and build them into influential men that are literally impacting their families and their communities and their country and their world. So it's awesome, man. We're fired up about it. We love it. This is what we're going to do forever. And we're excited about other men coming alongside us, other shepherds coming alongside of us, and being a part of the ripple effect that's going to turn into a damn tsunami. So find everything on shepherdsof.men. We're going to wrap it up. We'll see you next time. You've been part of the movement.